Welcome to TruPowur, home of the most powerful marketing tools, training, and technology on planet Earth. Get ready to earn, enjoy, and experience more than you ever dreamed was possible. If you're tired of just getting by and ready to really thrive, then buckle in and listen up. Here's your host, Matt Fox.
Well, hello and welcome everybody to episode 239 of TruPowur Academy. And today we are going to be talking about the importance of your market. So many times I have people, especially new, that come into working with TruPowur or with their customers, and they're looking at markets that may not necessarily be the most opportune time to be talking to those customers. And so we always want to make sure that we're being proactive in working in areas where we can provide the greatest amount of value, right? So sometimes you'll see somebody that'll put in their zip code and say, well, the rates that I'm seeing are not competitive. I've got a much better rate. And that may be true because not all markets are created equal in that regard. So we always want to make sure that we are being proactive and knowing what markets or what marketplaces that we can work with customers where we can provide the greatest amount of impact. So without any further ado, let me share my screen and let's go over today's agenda. All right. So today we're going to be talking about and understanding the importance of the market, obviously, and how to request customer leads, reviewing the market updates, understanding the market overview, and follow up with a little Q&A session. So first things first, let's jump right into the quick launch menu, which is at agent.trupowur.com. And this is really the launch pad where you can access just about everything on the platform. And so it's a good idea to have this pinned in your browser. So every time you open your browser, it'll be there and be available for you. So one of the things that people have a hard time with is understanding where should I be focusing my attention and what lead should I get in order so that I can provide the greatest amount of impact for those customers. And so when you're working in your CRM or you're working with customers or even looking at an opportune time to have support, add more customer leads into your CRM. So which markets are the best to work in? When gold prices are up, they're up globally, right? It's not like gold is cheaper in Iowa today. But energy changes hour to hour, area to area, state to state, territory to territory. And so we need to be very proactive in the markets that we address customers so that we can provide the greatest amount of impact for those customers. And so when we are going to request leads, the button is right here on the quick launch menu. And when you click that, it is going to pull up this lead request form. And there are two things that it directs you to do, and that is to check the market updates and the market overview prior to making any request. And the reason for that is to ensure that you are selecting customers that we can provide the greatest amount of impact for. So we want to go to the market updates, which will pull up the back end of the pricing platform. And right here at the top, you've got three tabs. And over here on the right-hand side, it says market updates. And so it'll bring you right to there. If you click that, it will show a drop down with all of the different analytics that have been done on a daily basis. Now, you used to have to do the analytics by hand to try and figure out where it is that you should be focusing. Since then, we've obviously have automated that so that the analytics are done on a daily basis, and then creates this report in your back office so you know where the best markets are. So if we looked at yesterday's report, it is going to pull up the market updates for July 29th. And at the top, we can see we're looking at commercial electric. And so this is basically telling us that the best markets for me to focus on right now for commercial electric is going to be in Illinois or Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania. Same thing for natural gas, commercial natural gas. You're going to have a list of the states available there. Residential, electric, residential natural gas. And then you are also going to see some additional information to just kind of give you a high level idea as to what's going on in the marketplace. Since about 95% of our focus is really around the commercial market where we can provide the greatest amount of impact. One of the things that I like to look at is what markets I have available to me and where are they located in time zones, depending on where you are. So you know what times you need to be focusing on those different time zones. And so from the lead request form, there's also the market overview. And that'll bring up from the back end of the pricing platform. Now you can go to the back and select from the menu up here in the top right-hand corner and select market overview from there, or just click the button from the lead request form, which will bring this up. Now, by default, it is going to show the commercial markets that have available custom pricing. So these are all of the states where we can provide value for those customers. If you're looking at the residential market is got a much smaller footprint, and so you can't quite provide as much value in as many states on the residential side. So deregulation is predominantly in most of the United States at some level. No state is 100% deregulated. So it's always a good idea to be proactive in knowing where your markets are and what to select. So that is the residential market. The commercial matrix market, which I would tell you is going to be probably your highest ticket item, because it's going to give you the opportunity to do a lot more with those customers than, say, just the commercial market customers. But overall, we can do the utility audit in all 50 states, Canada, and Mexico. So this portion of it does not matter. However, if we're going to take that to phase 2, which is to look at their supplier side and to be able to afford them an opportunity to save money moving forward, then we want to make sure that we're focusing on those states where we can provide the greatest amount of impact. So you'll see that the color chart up here, the blue is for electric and natural gas markets. The green is for natural gas only. Whereas here under the commercial markets matrix only, the light blue is only electric, and green is natural gas, and then gray are those areas that are not available. So how is this important? Well, whether you're looking at the market overview or the market updates, these give you some ideas as to where you want to focus so that you can provide the greatest amount of impact for those customers. So translating that over to here is, if I'm looking at residential customers, do I want just customers that I can only deal with in electric or natural gas, or both electric and natural gas? The same thing for commercial customers. Do I want just electric with matrix pricing only, natural gas matrix pricing only, and electric and natural gas matrix, or custom pricing, and or just focusing on the utility audit. So this is going to give you a good idea as to what those markets are and how they translate to what you can do next with that customer. So if we select commercial customer, electric and natural gas custom pricing, then these are all of the states that we can afford those customers that opportunity. So I did see in the list that Illinois was at the top. So if I select Illinois and fill out my information at the top and hit request, that is going to notify support to take a block of Illinois customers based on those parameters and load that into your CRM. When you go to your CRM and you click on leads, it is going to pull up a high level view of all of the leads that you have available if your filter is set to all. If you are wanting to focus directly on a specific state or an area for those customers, by going to the lead source, you can come down here and select the state that you're wanting to focus on. So if I were wanting to focus on Massachusetts, and you can see that the total count is 985, but when I hit update, you can see that now that's been reduced down. So I have 246 customers that are in the Massachusetts market that are in the fresh leads, never contacted. And so that gives me an opportunity to start working with those customers. If you want to go back and see all of your sources, just go back and put that all sources, click update, and that will filter everything from there. Sometimes I see people that will change the active campaign from residential to commercial. And then when they hit update, they're seeing all of the residential or all of the commercial customers, regardless of whatever state they're in. And so they're a little confused. They're like, well, I may have customers that are residential in Texas, Illinois, Ohio, and you're going to see all of them grouped together rather than breaking those apart. So unless you're wanting to just focus entirely on residential or commercial, and you don't care what state it is, then you can use the campaign as a selector. But the best way to do that is to use the lead source and select the state that you want to focus on and then hit update. So that way, when you start working with the customers, you're going to be working with customers that are going to be predominantly those areas where you can provide the greatest amount of value. So to recap that a little bit, from the lead request form, which you can find right here on the quick launch menu, it will take you to here, and then you can click market updates and market overview just to get a good idea. Obviously, once you get used to the mapping of different markets and you understand what each one of these are, that's important. So what are the differences between the matrix market and custom pricing? Well, if you have, right now, we are looking at customers in the custom pricing, which means all of these states are eligible for the reverse auction or the request for price. That's one and the same. So using the reverse auction tool or the request for price tool in the back office is available for all of the markets that you see here that say custom pricing. If we are going to be doing a proposal for the customer and we need to see the matrix pricing for it in order to create that proposal, then we need to focus on markets where there is matrix pricing available. So in other words, if we go back to the commercial markets. And we see that Virginia is one of those states where we can provide that customer custom pricing. But looking at the matrix price or the matrix, Virginia is not available. So if I were to take and get a bill from a customer for Virginia, we still can do the audit and we can still do custom pricing. We're just not going to be able to create a proposal that we can email back to that customer. So these are the states that are going to be your premium states in order to work with that customer and getting them the best rate possible. Now, there are some ways that you can work around that, and we're not going to go in that today, but you can use similar markets to get a ballpark idea as to what additional savings you're going to be able to provide that customer. And but for this exercise, we want to make sure that we understand the difference between residential markets and matrix pricing and custom pricing. The greater the value for the customer, the easier the customer will say yes. The easier that customer will say yes, obviously, the greater your revenue and residual income is going to increase. So all of those things are important. And I think sometimes people have a challenge in understanding what's the difference when I'm looking at all of these different choices that are available right here. So I would say that electric and natural gas, these are the states that are going to be your premium when you're looking at matrix pricing, because that's going to give you the ability to create proposals. Any state outside of that selection is not going to have a proposal available because there's no matrix pricing to draw from in order to create that proposal. So it can be a little bit challenging. We're working on some tools in order to try and help resolve some of that. But the fact is, custom pricing is just what it says, and that is we're submitting the customer's information to the supplier and getting a custom price based on that customer's usage and getting the suppliers to bid against each other in order to provide a better value for them. So I'm going to pause here just for a moment and open up the floor for some questions and answers. Appreciate everybody being here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So have fun storming the castle. Bye now.